Hey, Sam.
Hey, Sean. How's it going?
How's it going? Good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Cool. Well, hello, everyone. I see we already have a bunch of folks chiming in on the chat. Hello, Harsh. Hello, Kapil. Hello, Aman. Hi, Krishna. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so thanks, everyone, for joining. I'm super excited for today's stream. So hi, Jettison. So, Sam, I think let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'll start just from the Postman side here. I'm Sean. I am a developer advocate here with Postman. And yeah, we're streaming with Nylas. That is the kind of, I think, like obscure title. So we'll talk a bit about, the plan for today. But yeah, Sam, feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm Sam Arnold. I'm a solutions engineer at Nylas. As you can probably tell from my accent, based out of the London office. So yeah,
Awesome.
It's probably going to get pretty dark here soon.
So what time is it over there for you? Is it 4 p.m.?
4 o'clock. Yeah.
4 o'clock. Cool. Yeah, wow, lots of folks chiming in. Hello, Shibanata. Hello, Lali. Sailesh. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in. So, Sam, let's chat quickly about what Nylas is, and then we'll kind of talk about, what functionality exists and then kind of what we're going to do today.
Cool. Sure. Yeah. So Nylas is a platform that allows developers to integrate with multiple email service providers like your Googles, your Microsoft, and just makes it easier for them to integrate with those. Because obviously, if you're building out integrations for each and every single one of those, it can be quite time consuming and quite difficult. These platforms like to change quite a bit, so we do all that heavy lifting, and means that maintenance and ongoing things like that are handled by our side. So we do the heavy lifting there.
That's awesome. So yeah, I think what you said kind of rings true, where these things are changing pretty quickly, changing all the time, and so that's something like your team stays on top of to like make sure, like, if me, the end user of their products or software, like I wouldn't have to necessarily follow all the changes myself. That is kind of something Nylas would handle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So more and more folks in the chat. So hi, Saeed. Hi, Alexander. Hi, Kritarth. Welcome, Sandeep. I hope everyone sticks around. I think we're going to do some cool stuff today. If you're a fan of the show, The Office, there will be a few references to that show as we go forth and talk about some of the things we're going to do. So hello, Ganesh. Hello, Nariga. So I think before we jump into the plan for today, let's talk a bit about, we like to start every stream with an in case you missed it section. And so this is where we just kind of talk about some of the things that you might have missed if you haven't been around, or in the past week, if you've missed, anything. So Sam, I'll talk about that stuff from the Postman side here. The first thing I want to talk about is actually a super exciting thing, and I'll share my screen here. And I'll keep the chat up for now. But yeah, if anybody is a fan of puzzles or escape the room type things, one of my colleagues, Joyce, created this awesome puzzle hunt for API enthusiasts. And I actually think this is a cool graphic. I think this is really cute. But I'll scroll down so you can actually see what it's about. So it's super cool. Quick background: Joyce and our team. So Joyce is a developer relations manager, and one of our team building exercises 2 weeks ago was we did a virtual escape the room together with our team from all over, and we really just had a blast. And you can see we here's a tweet from Joyce: 7 out of 10 would do again. But yeah, it was just like this collaborative escape the room process. Sam, have you done any of the escape the rooms?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, done a few. But this seems really cool, especially if it's over, online. It's the sort of thing you could do as team building, and yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the cool thing about it. It's the first I've really seen where it's like combining these escape the room puzzles with the API usage and technical spin on it. And so I had the fun time of getting to kind of like go through it first and give Joyce some thoughts and feedback. And it was totally cool. It was just for someone that's nerdy like me and likes puzzles and likes APIs, it was like a dream come true to combine those things. So highly recommend it. I'm going to send over a link in the chat if anybody is interested. I recommend folks giving it a whirl. I copied the text, so here we go. So this link will take you to the workspace. So it's all done in Postman. It's done via like sending API calls, getting responses. There's video clues, audio clues, stuff like that. So it's really cool. And just to take a sec to look at the comments. So Harry says Postman is a tool mostly for API testing, while Nylas has some kind of email automations. So Sam, is that a accurate description, or is that kind of just like a small part of what Nylas does?
Yeah, it's definitely just a small part. Obviously, we've built a lot on top of the actual APIs that we provide back to the developers. So we've got some really interesting stuff which we can definitely talk about in a bit. But yeah, we do a lot more than just email automation.
Cool. Yeah, and that's, I think, when I was exploring Nylas, I'll pull this down for just a second. That was kind of my first thought, was like, oh, cool, like email automation. This will be a fun tool. I can, do some cool things with that. But I was pretty, impressed and like pleasantly surprised with like the more robust, features and things you can do. And like you said, I think we'll, dive into some of those. Olga says yesterday they were testing the Trello API in Postman. It's a really cool tool. Not sure if you're saying Trello is a cool tool or if Postman's a cool tool. And that is a tough phrase to continue to say, but agree. I think both are quite cool. And the last thing I want to talk about, in case you missed it, our API evangelist, Kin Lane, just released a new blog post managing the next generation of API specifications. So this just came out yesterday, and Kin is somebody I look up to as somebody who's kind of very knowledgeable in this space. And so anytime he writes, blog posts or has information on, really anything API related, I like to take a read and do some learning myself. So I haven't had a chance to dive into this, but I think it certainly would be worthwhile if folks wanted to take a look and just see what we're talking about here. I'll drop this link in here as well. And cool, yeah. So I'll close this for now. And yeah, all right. So Sam, that is it for In Case You Missed It. Shall we kind of give a teaser and chat a bit about what we're going to try to do today?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So yeah, like Sam said, I think, there's quite a bit you can do with Nylas and the Nylas APIs. Our goal today, and, we'll give an overview of Nylas and more. But I'm going to pretend to be Michael Scott. For those that don't know, that's, the main character of the TV show, The Office. And we're going to pretend that I have, multiple email accounts. And because I need to keep my personal life and my private life separate, I'm going to have a personal calendar and a work calendar, personal email and work email, and try to see if I can utilize the Nylas APIs to give myself a more holistic view of things. So Sam, does that summarize fairly well what we've talked about as like what we're going to do?
Yeah, pretty much. Not sure
Cool.
how this is going to go, so let's just jump into it, I guess. And
Jump into it. Cool. Cool. So yeah, Shiva, how are you? Great to be back. Awesome to see you. That's a familiar face on the stream, so welcome, welcome. Let's, I guess, start with pulling up maybe the Nylas homepage. And so I'll share my screen again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the chat off the screen here. But Sam and I are still reading the comments. So even though I hide it, like we're still keeping track of everything that folks say. Yeah, let's just kind of go to Nylas homepage and we'll get a bit of an overview of some of the things that we can do. So yeah, here we are. Sam, any specific thing that you want to point out or things I should maybe like go to and talk about?
Not at the moment. I guess it'd be better to show it once we actually have something set up and we actually jump into Postman. But yeah, feel free to follow along if you want to. Anyone can go ahead and try a free account. So yeah, maybe that's where we should start.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. Right. And so I'll give like a kind of an idea of what we're going to dive into. So here is my like email, pretty classic, Gmail inbox. I only have 4 emails right now. There's, not a ton in here. I also have a calendar, and you can see that I have, as Michael Scott Wood, I have improv class scheduled, and I have a date with Jan scheduled, and that's behind our heads. But let's see if I can. Oh goodness. Yeah, you can see I have this date with Jan scheduled for later. So this is my, personal calendar. Here's my work calendar. Again, there's not much here. We're just going to kind of, use this basic email and calendar. And you can see here's my work calendar. I have a call with Dwight scheduled for later today. And we're going to work on the threat level midnight script. So we're going to try to like basically combine these 2 disparate accounts. We have a Gmail account, we have an Outlook account, and 2 calendars, and see if we can't get some sort of unified view of these. So yeah, let's go ahead and say, well, should we just look at Nylas in Postman? Should we start there?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So if you're not familiar with finding things in Postman, right? You just come up here to this top search Postman button. If you don't have the direct link, but I will send it over to you. Right, we can just search for Nylas, and we see right this little icon here is for the public workspace. So I'm going to click this Nylas API, and this will navigate me, directly to Nylas's public workspace. And yeah, API infrastructure for high value data and rapid application development. Cool. So I don't know if we're going to build an application per se, but we're going to definitely kind of utilize different parts of the API here. All right, so let's unfurl this. And we see right off the bat, like this is pretty cool to me. Like this just kind of gives me an idea of like the scope of which you can do things. So yeah, I'm trying to think. So Sam, if I were to maybe start with account and say like, all right, let's get account. Clearly I'm going to need to get some sort of information to be able to like access this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you can see at the top actually, so there's 2 separate authentications. There's hosted and native. So obviously we need to authenticate the account that you want to be integrating with. And that's one of the benefits of using Nylas. We want to make things as easy as possible for developers. So what we've done is we've got 2 solutions. The first one being the easiest one to integrate, and that's the hosted authentication. So, it is where we do a lot of the heavy lifting there and host the authentication process and deal with all the tokens on our side. Just makes things very, very easy and means developers can get to market as quickly as possible. It does come up with when you go into the authentication process, it says you're using Nylas. So that's why we do have the option if you want a completely white labeled solution, you can use the native authentication. But yeah, most people go for the hosted just because it's so much easier.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. And so I know for me, when I was, using the Nylas API, I was able to just get a token from the Nylas dashboard. I'd be curious, so I'm going to probably go through that workflow because I think that was for me the easiest.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of talk about, what I did versus what that would look like going through, programmatically getting a token. Yeah, so I think if I want to actually consume this API in any meaningful way, I'm going to go ahead and fork this, right? So I need to be able to access and play with this API. So to do that, I'm going to come here and click this fork button. So this is at the collection level. So I'm going to click fork, and let's just call this streaming fork, and put it into my workspace. And what this is doing is basically just creating a copy of that collection from the public workspace and pulling it into my own workspace that I can now change things and send requests and stuff like that. Cool. So when I was exploring first, Sam, the first thing I noticed was here's this access token, and that was kind of what I was like, all right, well, let me get an access token. And there's an easy way to do this right through the Nylas dashboard?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you go ahead and sign up for a free account, then you can do that via the Nylas dashboard.
Cool. So I'm going to say I want to get this information. So here's my Gmail account, right? See my, it's probably tiny, but my Prison Mike logo there. And we see that onion says, hello, postmen and women. Very nice, very nice. And hello all. Again, even if the chat is not up, Sam and I are reading it. So, Sagar says hi, hello. We're still reading these, and we can pull your comments up. So feel free to keep chiming in. You can help us figure out what to do or kind of guide us. So yeah, the goal is going to be to connect this Gmail account in Nylas. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new account. So this is just nylas.com. And from here, right, just try it free. Just sign up for a free account.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So I think, Sam, this is because, right, we already created an account for the other one. So it's just loading up the one I've already made.
Yeah. If you log out, you should be able to, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, in prep for this, we created one of them, but we want to go through the workflow for creating for our Google account. So we'll do that. Here's a great question, Sam, and I think a bit of a kind of a hint of what we're getting into today. So does Nylas email API integrate with both Gmail and Outlook emails?
Yes. So the answer to that is yes. We integrate with all email service providers. That is one of the main reasons people use Nylas, just because there's so many different integrations or email service providers out there. You don't want to have to develop integrations with each and every single one of those, and also you don't want to have to maintain each and every one of those. It's a very costly process and it's a very timely process. So yeah, by using Nylas, you can integrate with all of those, and we can actually show you in a bit how you can authenticate multiple accounts, whether they're Gmail, Outlook, into one Nylas account. Yeah,
right. I think that pretty much kind of sums up nicely the benefit of Nylas, right? Is being able to do it for Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo, whatever, right? Whatever your email server is. And Ranjit is asking the integration process for it, and that's kind of what we're going to go through right now is creating basically authenticating, connecting our Gmail account with our Nylas account right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we have, I believe the email is Michael Scott streaming at gmail.com. Oh, I wanted this is for login, right?
I think you need to register now.
Yeah. So let's sign up with email. and this is going to be gmail.com, and create my super secure password here. Sign up. And so this is me just going through the process of, syncing my Gmail account with my Nylas account here that I've just created. So in theory, I should have an email from Nylas. And so if you want to go through this same workflow, feel free to do it at home. Right now, Nylas offers you free trial accounts where you can do everything that we're going to do today with, that free trial account. And I hope not like misspeak, right? It is a free trial account, Sam?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Cool. So, another good question. So we see people already, I think, starting to kind of, get into some advanced ideas of what you might want to do. So can you build workflows using the email API? For example, mark an email as read and move it to a folder. Sam?
Yeah, exactly. So all of that stuff you can do within Nylas, within the APIs that we provide. So we can actually show some of those in a bit within Postman, but you can do things like start an email from a particular user, move it to a folder, or label if you're using Gmail, because they like to be different. But yeah, all of that sort of stuff you can do within Nylas.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. So yeah, I just basically verified my address through email. Now I'm going to actually log in to Nylas. Let's save this. Cool. So, all right, now I'm doing my first stuff here. I've created my Nylas account. Let's say Michael Scott's a sales guy. Does the role here change any sort of permissions or anything, or this is just kind of like a research? Yeah. Okay. See who's using it. So now we can pick what kind of integrations we want to build. So we definitely want to do stuff with email. We definitely want to do stuff with calendar. We may or may not get to stuff with context, but let's pick it just in case. Click next. This is indeed the email we want to connect. I'm curious. I haven't seen this, so I want to take a look at this. And if we were to look at kind of how it works, this is kind of cool. I love a nice graphic to show me what's going on here.
Yeah, this is good because it's it's sometimes quite hard to understand where we sit, where Nylas sits. A lot of the time you'll be using applications that might be using Nylas, but you don't even know, just because we as a product sit in between the application and the service provider level. So this is a good example of showing you where we sit and what we provide as well. So you can see application could be a CRM or any little application that you're creating on your side, like we'll probably do today. And then the REST APIs that allow you to communicate with the Nylas platform. And then you'll notice as well on the right-hand side there, we have webhooks, which my face might be in the way of, but that's just a system that allows Nylas to tell the app that something has changed. If someone's moved an event or made changes to an event, we'll tell the application that that's happened.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is super cool. So I dropped this link in the chat if you want to check it out. Right, this I think somebody asked how, like, with the integration process, and I think kind of this page and diagram can help kind of give you a bit of information. Cool. Okay, so let's connect it. Now this is going to bring me, to this account. Oh, you can't see because I'm only sharing a specific screen. Shoot.
Are you able to show that screen quickly?
Because it's an important one, right? Give me just a sec. I will try to change what this looks like. I'm going to pull my screen off for a second and reshare. Stop screen sharing. Yeah, because I think, so I only shared a specific window, and there was like a pop-up that popped up that's asking me to like verify what I want Nylas to show, and I think it's important to show folks. So I'm just trying to pull that up quick here. So let's just go with all of screen 2 for now. And I'll pull it up. Cool. So this, Go ahead, Sam. You want to talk about what's going on here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So this is what we call the Nylas hosted authentication. So as you can tell, it's automatically detected that this is a Gmail account. And obviously, it says it there at gmail.com. But if, for example, I use my Nylas account, which is at nylas.com, we use G Suite, and using the automatic detection, it will know that that's Gmail. So, if you sign in, if you put in your Outlook account, it will know, and it will automatically redirect you to the to the Outlook one. But yeah, here you're just specifying what scopes, what things you want Nylas to be able to have access to.
Cool. Yeah, that's super helpful to break down. I'm glad you made me show this screen because I think it's like valuable to talk about what's going on here.
Yeah.
So it looks like these are the default ones that it has. I'm going to go ahead and just select everything. Like, I mean, this is an email account that I'm not like too attached to, so I don't particularly care what permissions it has. I imagine if you're doing something, a bit different or like, production level sort of application, you would want to be more deliberate. But for the sake of the stream, I'm going to go ahead and just say, go ahead, Nylas, you can do whatever you like. But we do want this. We do want the ability to read, compose, and send emails from my Gmail account, right? That is absolutely permissions that we want for what we're going to do today. Okay. So we have, cool. Now we get an access token. There you go. It's up there, but I'll revoke it at the end. So Jettison is saying, stream request, feed the inbound emails into another AI API that then responds to my emails for me. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Cool. So I'm going to copy this token because I imagine if I go back to Nylas collection, right, this access token, similar naming convention, this is probably, what we're looking for here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to copy it down. Cool. And what I like, so this is something, Sam, that I actually thought was super cool. I love when documentation has, some sort of like, oh, this is actually laid before, like little sandbox, right? So now that I have my token, I'll click next. And what's really cool is like, I love when there's these like built-in sandboxes or like, areas where you can like run an actual request and have it come back. So let's go ahead. I've entered the access token that I just got. I'll click run. And hopefully we're going to get, nice, we get this sweet confetti animation. And this is exactly what we want, right? Like this is the email account that we were just looking at. Here's Michael Scott streaming at Gmail. Name is Michael Scott. Sweet. Sam, any thoughts here before I kind of go back to Postman and see if I can't like replicate this information?
No, I think that's what we should do. Take it back into Postman and try and get this working. But yeah, congratulations, you've done your first Nylas API call.
Woohoo! Awesome. Cool. So what I'm going to do, and what I recommend folks at home probably do, because we're going to be working with multiple accounts and having multiple different, depending on how we do it, we might have different access tokens. So I'm just going to create an environment that has where I can save some of this information. So I'll just call it Nylas environment and hi Mohammed. And let's call this Gmail access token, because if I end up creating a different one, and actually we already have created before the stream, we've gone through the Microsoft Outlook flow. So I'm just going to call this my Gmail access token, copy and paste it here. And now we have to be careful, right? So if I'm using these credentials for this entire collection, like I can go ahead and change this to match that and just say like Gmail access token. And if I hover, this should be, oh, I have to select my environment. So if I hover over this, it should, show us that it is a resolved variable, and we have a value for it. So the request that we just sent here was this, get account information. So let's see if we can make that exact request here. So I'm just going to come to account, get account. So this is something I actually noticed, Sam, is URL is not actually a resolved variable, like from the collection itself. And so
yeah, that's pretty. So we have a Nylas production template environment. So it might be worth downloading that and getting that, because then it has a lot of the variables there. Do you want me to send you the link to that? So we do have some docs, which
is that part of the workspace in Postman?
I'm not sure actually, but we do have a page on our docs, which I'll send over to you. It shows you how to get Nylas set up with Postman.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to send that, cool. So Sam just sent me this link, and I'll open it up in a new tab here. And I'll drop it in the chat for everyone. This is cool. I'm obviously a Postman fan, but I love when companies and documentation makes it super easy to understand like what's going on, how to get started, and do it very quickly with this Run in Postman button. And if I had found this page earlier, I would have just clicked this, and it would have been like way easier than like the workflow I did. But I think what I did actually shows how a decent number of people use Postman, right? They're like, if they didn't stumble across this page but want to use the Nylas APIs, it's cool to be able to do it. Excuse me, the way that we kind of went through. So Jamie Barton says, "Hey everyone, very interested in this." Awesome. Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty cool thing that we're doing. So yeah, when I was in the workspace here, I'm actually back in the Nylas public workspace that we started in. And it was my own fault for not looking and seeing if there was a template that I could have copied. And so, this is a lot of stuff. Cool. So I'm going to fork this so I have all this stuff. I'll just call it same thing, streaming fork. I'll fork it again to my workspace, which is what I want. So now, had I just done this from the start, I wouldn't have had to create my own environment. Like I would have just had this. And all this stuff. Okay, so Sam, if I had gone through that workflow, like all this stuff would have been like kind of populated for me had I done. Okay, that's cool. That's good to know. So here's my question. I got this access token, and I did it manually from the Nylas dashboard. So should I just go ahead and enter that in here and then kind of go about stuff?
Yeah, that's pretty best.
Okay. So let's do access token. And I'm going to change it here because, again, I made it. Was it Google or Gmail? No, I don't remember what I said. Gmail. Well, let's actually go with Google because I think that's, we're going to be more than just Gmail for this. So let's save that. Let's come back to our collection now. And now in our collection, this is no longer, this is going to be Google access token. I have to select my environment. Okay, I'm going to save this. The save button is not here, but quick shortcut, you can do Command S and that will save stuff. Okay, should I now try to send my get account? I feel like we've done a good bit of stuff here. Okay. So this should work. Right now I have the URL variable is resolved. And let's click send. Woohoo. All right.
There we go.
So just to kind of like recap quick, right? Like Nylas made it super easy to, make this exact request in the dashboard and just like, get started, right? I didn't have to do very much, which was awesome. Like I love that. What we're trying to do now is make use of the Postman collection we did that same exact workflow, but now we're saying, all right, let's use Postman collection to do some more advanced workflows with the Nylas API. Does that kind of check out?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. I think we should start seeing some of the cool things we can do. We're now authorized to look at different stuff in our Gmail account. So I want to take a look and see if I can get my emails. what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so a lot of this stuff is quite self-explanatory. So you can see the messages folder on the left-hand side. So within there, we can just run a simple request for get messages, and that will return messages. Obviously, there's a limit set to 10, but I don't think you have that many yet. So it should return all of them.
Woo, that's cool.
Cool.
So talk to me about what we just got back. Yeah. And I'm going to put our spacers off to the side here.
So obviously, as you scroll down, you can see the different parts of the email that we've got. So we've got the account ID, the body of the text. Obviously, it's in HTML. So there's for people that don't want to use the HTML, there's things that we have that can help with that. So which I can talk about later. But yeah, you can see the entire block of the HTML there. Keep scrolling. Yeah, you can see things like the date, any files that might be attached to that particular email, who it's from. Yeah, so all of this stuff is really self-explanatory. And then that's the important thing here. So we have the ID. So this is going to be really useful if we want to you go and grab this email and do something with it. So, you know, someone asked earlier, you might want to store or move a message into a folder or add it to a label. Yeah, getting the ID is really important for that. And we see there's actually been a label already assigned to this one, so it's been added to important.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So if we wanted to, all right, and then we see like this is the mailbox that it's in, all mail, inbox. Okay. I'm trying to see when does it start being, okay, so unread is true. Okay, so this is when it, yeah, this is the new email here. Once we get to the, okay. So if we wanted to, let's just, I kind of want to just mess around and let's just, I want to star this email. So I think you said the ID is like the most important thing?
Yep.
Okay. And I can see right here, right? I have like, you know, I'm going to zoom out one time here. Starred. And so I'm going to assume that's what we're going to do to star something.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. So let's, right, we can see right here, nothing is starred. The goal is going to be to star this email programmatically. Okay, so I have URL, I have messages. Oh, so okay, so this was auto-generated. So I'm gonna actually look back and see how this was set. So if I look at my test script, so message ID. Okay, so it already actually saved the very first object's ID. So there's code in here to like capture the ID of that first message, which is great. So Sam, we have a quick question from Prashant, just checking if Nylas streaming APIs are compatible with streaming IoT data as well, like Google Home, etc.
It's a good question. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not too sure on that one.
Totally, yeah.
I'll have to take that one away and have a look.
Cool. So yeah, Prashant, I see, you know, you're on YouTube. So, you know, this video will be available on YouTube and, you know, we can, you know, perhaps follow up with a comment there if we get one later after the fact, but good question. Okay. So let's see now, our goal was to star this email. I'm going to just close out some of these. We already have a message ID. So I just want to see like some of the stuff we have in the script. Cool. So this is just making sure that there is a message ID. Star is true. And cool. All right, let's go ahead and click send. So we got a 200 OK. It looks like our response, you know, just returning the email. I'm wondering if we're going to see something with like star equals true.
Yeah, it should say star. Yeah, there we go.
Here we go. Line 36. Oh, interesting. But I don't see anything starred. Ah, there we go. Cool. All right, we started an email. So I'm already kind of like getting excited. It's like, would it really do? It save me from like clicking this? Sure. But if you imagine it in like more robust workflows, right? Like I think you can kind of start seeing how some of this stuff would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, same with the labels and things like that. So you can use use the requests to put them in certain labels or inboxes or or folders if that's the case, if it's come from a particular user, or if it's we've got some neural APIs which allow you to categorize certain things based on the content of the emails or the sentiment. So you can sort of start to see how you can build up those workflows using the Nylas APIs.
Yeah, super cool. I want to let's just for fun. Now I want to like move it to like add a label. So it's asking me for a thread ID. If it's just a single email, will there be a thread ID?
Not sure. Let's go check it.
Should I click send and see what happens? It'll probably not work. Okay, so no. Okay, yeah. So right, it's just an unresolved variable. So yeah, I guess we can look back.
Still
at our
going to need
messages.
an ID to return, or to remove the label. But
okay, we got a thread ID. Yeah, it looks like I probably have 7 emails, right? So there's going to be 7 thread IDs. It just that was one of the things that wasn't saved automatically. So I'm going to just do this and just say thread ID, and then right. So just the same idea. Now it's just saving thread ID programmatically, so I don't have to like manually do that for each thing. X this out. And so label ID, I'm going to change this to just say like test label. All right, let's send this. Couldn't find message, blah, blah, blah. I wonder if I messed up somewhere. I don't want to get lost in the weeds here already. But anything stand out for what I might have done?
So we have the thread ID.
So we have a thread ID. We have a message ID.
Did you add the label?
Yeah. So is this 4-1 and then ends with MA? Yeah, I wonder. All right, we've hit our first roadblock. So if other folks are seeing anything, so Sam, are you looking at the docs and just seeing if there's anything that
I'm just going to take a look.
Yeah.
See.
So the interesting for me, it says, message, it couldn't find message this. So I'm wondering if, even though it's asking for thread ID as the endpoint here, if it actually should be message ID.
Yeah, try it. Add the message ID instead.
Let's see. Invalid label ID. Oh, okay. So do I have to like save a label? Like create a label first?
Let's maybe create a label using the API.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. I would say let's hold off on that. I think we can kind of see what the goal there is. But I want to start like creating kind of like using other parts of the API and then like combining multiple ones. So yeah, it makes sense that there was no label called test label, so it can't like add that. Like I'd have to like make it in Gmail first.
Yeah. Or via the API.
Exactly right. Yeah. I imagine if I did like, actually, you know what? This seems like it's going to be 2 clicks. So let's just create my new label. I'll send it. Cool. So now I have this. So here's the label ID that I probably want to save. And again, this can all be done like in Postman. You can write scripts. I imagine actually it probably has saved this as an environment variable. Sweet. And I didn't have to change this if I had it done before. Label ID. This variable should evaluate to my new label. Let's click send. Actually, okay. I thought it wouldn't work because I changed this back to message ID, but it looks like it probably did. So hopefully I didn't go too quick. All I was doing there, just quick recap, was programmatically created a label using the Nylas API. So our label is called my new label. This ID was captured via the test tab. And then I just tried to add this label to our first message. So if I come back in here, I'm just going to refresh this.
Yeah, you can see it's already there on the left.
Oh, you see it? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Yep. So here's my new label. And awesome. Yeah, this has already been moved in there. And it's the started one. This is cool. I'm enjoying this already. So a few folks, Chinmay's asking, what is this? So we are using the Nylas APIs to right now just kind of poke around and explore the various things you can do programmatically. Looking at getting emails or getting your messages, starring them, adding labels, stuff like that. I think we should take a look quickly at the calendar endpoints and see what we can check out there.
Sounds good.
Cool. So I think now that we have like a little bit more familiarity, threads, I imagine, kind of similar to messages, but then you'll get the whole cluster of emails. Cool. Labels, we just kind of explored a bit. Folders, is this what you were saying? This is more specific to like Outlook?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Gmail uses labels, whereas pretty much everyone else uses folders. So yeah, Google likes to be slightly different.
Yep. Sending files. Okay, yeah, let's check out calendars. Oh, and Sam, we actually talked a bit before our call about calendars and something that I think we'll see as we explore this. So let's search. Let's just hit this endpoint and see what comes back. All right. So we have an account ID, description. So ID, is this the ID of the calendar?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is emailed events. Okay. So what is?
So there's probably a few standard ones already created in Gmail. So you can see.
So this is probably the one that I want to work with, right? Like the Gmail one is primary, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can see below there's a holidays one, which I think they're just standard ones that they get created when you have the account.
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm going to be working with like this is the one I want, because I have, if you look at my calendar, like I have some events on this calendar. I want to make sure that this is the ID that gets saved. So, oh no, sorry, not that one. I want, I want this ID to be saved because this is the one that has the events. So I'm curious what the tests do if it saves it as that way. Yes, this is cool. If the calendar is read-only is false, then set that as the calendar ID. And I think, like since that's our primary one, that's going to have read-only being false, meaning that's the one we can like add to because that's not like the default ones, right? Cool. That's good logic. I thought I was, I thought for a second we would have to like make sure that the ID is saved. And I will add, Sam, I am incredibly grateful that you made me get this environment because it just, capturing all the proper things has made it much easier because I tried to explore the API, earlier in the week a little bit. I was like copying and pasting and like coming up with all these things in my own environment. So this is significantly easier. Cool. Okay. So if I wanted to, right, I now have this calendar saved. I want to like get all the things I have on my calendar, right? So I want to see improv class come back. I want to see my date with Jan come back. And I'm not seeing that on here. What I can do, right, here's this, free busy. And right, so this is basically telling me all the events, I think, or like the free times that I'd have from now until 30
So
days.
the free busy, so the free busy tells you all of the busy slots. So this is really useful if you don't want to, you want to find out when someone is busy so you can book a meeting around that time. So this is when you'd use the free busy endpoint. We've also got the availability endpoint, which you can see below that. So that's where you're using a bit of a combination of multiple things. You're using the free busy endpoint to see those busy slots, as well as maybe open hours and when someone's actually working. So you can see here, you can put in the open hours, as well as the free busy slots, and then it will give you availability of that person. So it won't tell you the actual events in the calendar using these requests. It will just tell you when either they're busy or when they're available.
Cool. So this is probably more for like scheduling stuff. If you're just like, you don't care what the events are that are like in the way, it's just like, when can I schedule something? You use this to find those blocks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and there's another one at the bottom, which is the consecutive availability. So that's really useful if you wanted to have multiple people across multiple consecutive events. So for example, you might be doing an interview process and you might have 5 different people that need to be in that process every half an hour, say. You can use that to schedule those or find availability for those attendees. So also pretty cool.
Yeah, that's neat. Sweet. All right. I think so. What we want to do is, instead of like, Michael Scott's not trying to necessarily build like schedule around other people's appointments. I think the goal for us is going to be to like, get my events from my Google Calendar and get my events from the Outlook calendar and combine them. So I think that's going to be in this events endpoint. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So, here's all the params. I have my calendar ID all saved because that's the one we had before. So let's just click send and see what comes back this way. Limit parameter must be an integer. Okay, let's say we want 5. I don't think we're going to get that many. Offset parameter must be an integer. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly what that's telling me. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this page. I'm going to do it in a new tab. Do you know offhand, Sam, what it's complaining about?
I'm not sure. I don't know if you need to set those by default, just so there is something there. This doesn't look like. Yeah, so if you go back to the request. Offset parameter must be an integer. I wonder if it's passing through like a blank value, which it's treating as not an integer. So yeah, maybe set something.
Invalid event.
Oh, and then it needs.
So if I'm just trying
to turn those off.
Oh yeah, good, yeah, I like that.
Maybe we just need the calendar ID.
It's sending, because it's trying to send these all as parameters and just sending nothing. Good call. And we could also, like, if I was smart, I could just see from up here on our like actual request, right? All these things are being sent. So I mean, we can keep a limit of 5. I don't think we're going to get anything. All right, let's click send. All right, sweet. That makes more sense. We got a question here. So from Seong Su Lee, how do I get further info about this? I am happy to pass along the Nylas homepage, and you can just click try it free. And I'll drop that in the chat here. Prashant is heading off. We'll watch the recording later. You're very welcome. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, these videos are all recorded. They'll be available on YouTube later. So feel free to watch and follow along later. Cool. Let's look at our response. All right. So we have this first event called Improv Class. We can see that I'm the owner of it, or Michael Scott is, excuse me. And we have a when, so it tells us when it's starting, when it's ending, and a bit more information about it. All right, cool. So now we have our events. I'm curious, so nothing got saved. So if I wanted to, like, let's say I want, for some reason, I want to get an email with all these events sent to me. I could do that, right? And so I would pull up, like, for me, I'm gonna, like, I want this information from these events sent to me. So I'm going to basically just say let response equal pm.response to JSON. And from here, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So it's just an array of objects. So I can actually, I could call this events if I wanted to. And so now so let's just create an object where we just want to pull out the exact information that we need. So I'm gonna just have a little blank array called event, and we actually have a built-in Lodash library. So if I want to just loop through the event here, I can do, we'll say response, and then L, and then for each of these, we actually want to, let's do events.push, and we will add in, I think I'm getting my syntax a little funky here. Events.push. So I did this before, and now that I'm trying to do it live, I'm messing up.
It's always the way with live demos.
Yeah. So really, what I want, I don't need all of this information. I really just need, the title, and I want the end time and the start time. So what I'm trying to do here is just kind of save just that information, so I can save that as an environment variable. And so then what I'm going to end up doing is I'll come back up here to sending, because this is another endpoint, and I'm going to just send a message to myself, or say I have another email, and I can just say hey, here are all of your events that you have. And so let's come back here. To get events. Okay. Events.push, and then here's what we're going to do. Let's say we want title to be, I messed up something. So I'm going to copy and paste this for now, because I think that's just easier. This is what I did before. Okay, so here we have, I'm just creating an events array. And then, so instead of saving my response, here is just for each response, this is the array of objects. And so for each element in that array, we're going to push just this information of the title, the owner, which is, whoever owned that calendar. And we could also, if we wanted to, because we have the time like this, right? We have our start time and end time, but like that format is not particularly useful to, non-computers.
Robots.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So let's go ahead and call it, we can still call it start time, but let's format it in a way that's a little bit different. And here we're going to actually make use of the moment.js library. And so to use that, we have to include that library as well. I forget, I think we can say var moment equals require moment. I believe that's right. I'm just gonna comment and just make sure this is correct. So let's go ahead. I'm actually going to comment this out. Let's just make sure that I have moment correct, because otherwise other stuff's going to get funky. So it should give us the same thing, right? It should just give us this. Yeah, it's a function. Sweet. Okay. And I did that kind of quick, but really all I did, right? Like I console logged and just saw that we have at the bottom here. Oh, my face is covered in it. Well, we can see it when other stuff pops up, or my name is covering it up on the bottom, but we have imported it correctly. And from here, I'm just going to try to format that time a little bit differently and say the start time is going to be moment. And this is so I think this is a Unix timestamp, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can like do moment Unix. And this is L dot when. So now I'm trying to get this time, and it's in the object of when, and we'll say start time and end time is moment.unix l.when.end time. Okay, so if I've done this correctly, we should have an array of events where we have just like the event from this calendar saved in here with our time changed for us. So I'm going to click send. Hopefully everything goes okay. And now I'll pull up the same console again. And we should have, oh, it's a little bit funky. I can't tell if it's running it over and over. Okay, here we go. So here's events. And again, it's like getting kind of cut off by my name here, but we should have improv class. Okay, so again, this date is not particularly helpful either. So I'm going to make use of the format feature in the moment library and just change it one more time, just so again, it becomes a little bit more readable so that when we send it, it makes sense. And so we can just do .format and DDD HA. And I know this because I looked up the other day the moment.js docs. So if you're not familiar at all with what I'm doing, yeah, yeah. So the moment.js, it helps you basically just work with dates in JavaScript and allows you to like convert them and work with them and change them into different like formats and such. It says it's not like being updated or anything anymore, but what's really nice is you can still do stuff, right? And so here are just some various things you can do with it. Trying to see, let's just search for like format, right? You can take various dates and like format them to however you like. And so it's like super helpful in that regard, right? If you have, here's just an example, like if you format it to, the German date, it will just basically take what you have understand the input and like be able to output it into a way that makes sense. And so what I've done is this one here. I want to basically just take the date that we have and convert it into like Sunday at 3 p.m. So I think that will be easier to kind of understand and read. So I'm just going to add this chunk here as well and clean that up. All right, so I'm just running the same request. I'm just like saving this events object a bit cleaner so that, you know, when I do send something, right, I have like the start time is Thursday at 7, end time is Thursday at 8. And so now if I like make use of the Nylas API and just send myself an email, I can just get information, you know, from this chunk. So let's go ahead and, so because we want to use this in another request, we're going to have to save this as an environment variable. So what we can do here is, let's say, pm.environment.set, and let's call it event. And in this case, because our environments, you know, you can really only save it as like a string, we're going to do JSON. Oh, no, I forget what I want to do, but I basically want to convert it to a string. JSON, it's not parse. Sam, how's your JavaScript? I'm trying to remember. It's like JSON string.
Not to the level of yours. So I wonder if there's anyone in the comments that can, in the chat, that can help out.
Yeah, folks, if you see me getting stuck and you know what I should be doing here, feel free to help out. But yeah, so I think this should take, because basically we save this object or this array events, and we just basically want to turn it into a string and then save it as an environment. So I'm going to click send again. Something went wrong. Cannot read property start time of undefined. Not sure. So something is funky. I don't know what I've done wrong here now. It says I'm unauthorized. Well, this is always the challenge of doing things live here. Okay, so I'm trying to see. So cannot read property start time of undefined. Why would that be undefined? This was just working before.
Did you add anything else?
I don't think so. So let's just comment out all this. We'll click send again. Okay, so I'm wondering is it possible that I've sent too many requests on my trial key?
Shouldn't be the case, no.
Okay. Let's just try another basic message. So this one, you know, was like just getting our messages. So if this works, okay. So yeah, this seems to be some sort of issue where it can't verify my access credential.
Can you go back into the Nylas dashboard just to make sure you're still up and running? If you go to account, oh yeah, maybe just run it through there.
So we just need to make like a new access token?
Yeah, let's try that. So if you go to accounts.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, so you can see there it's saying stopped. So let's just try resync first. Let's see if that works.
Okay.
If not, we might just need to generate a new token.
Okay. Christian says, hi. Hello. Okay. So
Right, let's try that again. Go back into Postman and just see if that's fixed it.
Okay.
Okay.
So should I just generate a new token?
Yeah, let's give that a go.
Okay. So let's do that. And this is, I mean, the nice thing about what we've done is just like, we've only saved our other token in one place. So it's like, even if this, you know, needs to happen, it's like, we only have to do it in one spot. Now let's make sure. Okay. Oh my gosh. Detect unusual. I'm going to pull this off for a sec.
Okay.
And I'll get a text code. So folks, this is the real joy of doing things live. Everything went super smooth when we were messing around earlier. And here we are. Okay, here we go. So yep, this is what we want. We want it to be able to do all those things that we already picked. I'm going to get probably a new.
There you go. So it's there. So, don't refresh the page. It's
okay.
Yeah.
Let's copy that.
The amount of times I've done that and then
yeah, you like and lose it. You have to go through the whole thing.
yeah.
Cool. So now we can change my Google Access token to this. I'll save it. Okay, so now I'm gonna uncomment all this because this all should work. Let's just check it with a nice basic one. Woohoo! Okay. And the account ID, I imagine, stays the same?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Okay, so we've gotten events. Let's click send. All right, no errors. We can see in the console, everything looks good. And I'm just going to show you quickly what we just saved, right? So it's basically, it's that object we just wanted, but now it has everything just saved in one neat string. And the reason I've done this, I'm going to not save this. I'm going to not save this. Right. My goal is I want to send myself an email with these events. Let's say for whatever reason, right? Like you wanted to, and this is like going to be a very crude kind of workflow, like get my own events and email myself. But I think, you know, folks can imagine, you know, getting events from another email or from another account, and then like, you know, sending out that information elsewhere can be quite valuable. So let's send myself a direct message. So the body in this case, so let's say we want to send this to Michael Scott, and this is the email that it's going to be sent to, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Michael Scott streaming. And you can see here, right, this is an array. So if you wanted these events to be sent to other people, right, I could just add another object in here and have it sent to that as well.
Yeah.
Let's just send a basic email. Let's just see how easy this is to send myself an email programmatically. I'll click send. And boom, we get a 200, which is always a good sign. And it looks like, yeah, just, you know, basically gives us the information of the email we just sent. And if I check this here, right, yeah, from myself, you know, sounds great. See you then. So that's, I mean, that's super easy. Like that's awesome. I imagine too, Sam, if I wanted to, I could, you know, add a bunch of other stuff and like, you know, send this with a specific label I want to already have. Like you could have it be starred from the start.
Yeah. So all the stuff you'd expect, adding attachments, you can see it on the left-hand side. We also have tracking, so you can, I think it's only available to premium accounts. It was not available to the free accounts, but you can add tracking to the emails as well. So you can see, you know, who's actually opened it, who's viewed it, and also if there's link tracking, any links in the email, you can add link tracking as well to see if they've clicked on those links.
Nice.
So yeah, there is
awesome.
additional functionality around that.
Cool. Cool. So what I want to do is just kind of show quickly, right, how we can like make this more dynamic and like have it be, you know, the information from, my actual events. And we'll go a little bit quick here just in the interest of time. But, let's say, we want to get that events object. So now we're going to do pm.environment.get. This is where we're going to save events. And we're actually going to do JSON.parse. Because it's saved as a string, we want to take this string and get the object version of it. So now we'll be able to actually, work with it. Let's just make sure this came in correct. Send it. I'm just going to send myself the same email, but we should see right now we have this events object that we can work with. Let's save the length as events.length, and actually I'm going to, the reason I'm going to do this is I'll be a little bit dynamic with the email. I'll say pm.environment.set. Actually we'll say number of events, and we'll set it as events.length. Cool. And the reason I'm doing this is this is being set in the pre-request script. So what I can do is just say like in the subject, hi there, Michael, you have number of events today. And because we saved this environment variable, this should send for us. So let's go ahead and send this. And again, I'm going to get a bunch of the same emails, but we can see from here, hi there, Michael, you have 2 today, right? Like we were able to make use of this variable, save it from our object, and use that here. And we could check it out, right? And so again, this is a very, very basic idea of taking a number of events and just sending it to ourselves. But I think kind of neat to see that. Sam, any comments or thoughts quick on that?
No, I've just dropped you a link to the different things you can put within the message object. So you might want to drop that in the chat as well. But yeah, this is, like you said, it's just a very basic task, but it just shows you the power of what you can do within the tool and using the APIs. So obviously all of this can be done programmatically, and send yourself all sorts of emails, or send your colleagues all sort of emails based on events or whatever you want to control, really.
Totally. And so I'm going to add, I have some stuff already saved, and I will add this to a workspace so people can follow along, but I want to really use different, I want to get stuff from our Outlook events as well. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to copy and paste this in here for now. But basically I'm creating a string template for myself to send in the email. And you can see it's just here's an email header. And let's just make this something that Michael would want to say. Michael, here are your events below. And so then for that events object, we're going to say, here's everything that's going to come through. And it starts at L.start time and end at L.end time. Right. So what we've done here is we've created this template so that we can add this to the body of the email. And now instead of and then I want to set this as a environment variable as well. pm.environment.set. I know I'm going kind of quick here, but I think it will, be kind of cool to see. All right. So now we have this environment variable called template, and instead of sending this body here that's kind of basic, we're going to just go ahead and send that environment variable template. And ideally what's going to happen is my email should be like, hi there, Michael, you have 2 events. And then the body is going to be, something where, sends the events that we do have. And hopefully I did this correct. All right. And right here's just like that big string. And I think, Sam, this is where you were saying like you have some stuff to help you format, an email. So if you want to pass that along, I'll drop that in the links too. But yeah, this is just like an HTML formatted email. And let's see what that came through as. Cool. So, here's like the email, and Edarog's asking, can someone give some insight as to what is going on? Basically, we're using the Nylas APIs. Right now, what we've done is we took a look at the events on my calendar. And then from there, right, again, this is all like in my own calendar, right? I'm getting my own events, saving them, and then emailing them to myself. And we've talked a little bit so far about how it's a bit of a basic workflow, but we can kind of get an idea of how, like, if I were getting events from like other people's calendars and needed to like curate that into some specific, workflow or application, and then email, big distribution list with all these different, bits of information, like, this is certainly possible. So this is me just taking information from my Google Calendar. Should I try quickly to see if we can get the events from this one? Should just be another API call or so.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
Cool. Okay. So we actually, Sam and I went ahead and already validated this event or like this account through Nylas. So we have that information saved. So what I'm going to do is create another, I'm going to do this event ID, and I have my information saved. So I'm just pulling up my token that I have for my Outlook one. And I'm going to create a new variable. And instead of my Google account access token, I'm going to create my Outlook account access token. And this is that one. And this maybe not be the best practice of having like multiple Nylas accounts. This is what we, we're kind of hinting at a bit earlier today. But, so now if I change my auth to use the Outlook access token.
Is it Outlook account?
Outlook account, okay. Right, what I can do is now if I were to get events, because I'm now using the auth from that Outlook account, I'll click send. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. So it doesn't look like it's giving me any events, but I do have these events here. Any idea why these? I know we're like going kind of quick, and it's like we're just because it let me search for them.
What, within Postman, are you able to search?
Yeah, right. So I got like a 200. Okay, let's actually. I think a good basic one is to just get account. Okay. Oh, you know what? It probably is saved. It saved all the like the calendar ID stuff and everything from the previous
Okay.
workflow. So it's like using, I think, the calendar ID and
Sure.
and stuff. So now if I think
We can
if I
manually
get
override that
calendars,
if we need to, though.
yeah, right. So I'm just going to run this request, the get calendars, because this should save. Right. So here's that calendar, my Outlook calendar. And because of these test scripts in here, it's going to save it for my Outlook account. And now I imagine if I get events, because that information is saved in my environment, this should give me the various events. Okay. And yeah, so here are these events, right? I have, they have for Thanksgiving Day. Okay, so it's giving me my holidays. I wonder if I like, yeah, so like we're running out of time, but this is, if we played around a bit more, I could start getting like, I could figure out, I would imagine what's happening is in get calendars, the first calendar that it's saved, right, is read only, is not read only. And that's like the ID that it's saved. And so it probably allowed me to use that one. And that's like what it's getting information from. Yeah. So I think we're getting close. Oh, I could have hid this. Sorry. We're getting close to the end of time here. So I don't know how much more we'll dive into. But I do feel like we got to a point where we were able to, like, at the very least, get information from our own calendar and send an email from it. So I think that's pretty cool, just to kind of show like the programmatic ability to do that. Sam, so I feel like we didn't get to dive into some of the cooler, deeper stuff we wanted. So I want to give you a chance to like kind of talk and highlight maybe some of the stuff that we left off, or like, real life workflows that you see people do this stuff.
Yeah, so obviously we've just touched on some of the really basic, almost out of the box stuff within Postman, well, within Nylas using the Postman app. So obviously there's so many other things that you can do within Postman. You can see that there's different endpoints. So let me just double check on my side. So within the Neural API, we have a few different endpoints. So we've got the conversation, categorize, signature extraction, and sentiment. So some of these can be really useful for, I think this is the link that I dropped in. So you should be able to see them all there. But yeah, so if you want to be doing stuff around, trying to make your emails within your app look more like a conversation, so we strip out all the headers, the footers, and the signature and things like that. That's where we can use the conversation API, and then we've got signature, so we can extract the stuff out of the signature, such as the LinkedIn information. There might be an updated telephone or mobile number that you might want to grab out and put into the contacts API. So you can use the new API for that. Sentiment, so that's really good for if you want to be gathering what the sentiment of the email is. So if you've got a help desk app, for example, you might have some angry customers, and we can work out the sentiment based on the content of that email, and then let the support staff know that this potential disgruntled person needs a phone call just to sort this out, or vice versa, someone might be really happy with the service they're getting. So you can use the sentiment analysis to provide that information. So obviously this stuff takes the basics of the Nylas API to the next level. So yeah, there's lots you can do, and it's a shame we didn't have more time to go through some of this stuff.
Yeah. I remember, we were talking before the call. I was like, yeah, what if we ended early? I was like, I think there's plenty we can fill time with. I don't think we have to worry about it's, I kind of stumbled around with some of the JavaScript. I had too much fun, I think, in the beginning, just being like, let's star an email. Like, to me, that was, pretty exciting. Just being able to do that programmatically. But yeah, I imagine, given the depth to which you can do things, and some of the stuff with the neural APIs sounds really cool. And highly encourage folks, if watching, to sign up. make use of the, free trial, and just, I just had a ton of fun, making up an email account and sending myself, silly emails. So I think there's plenty to do and explore there. Cool. So I think, before we sign off, I want to just talk briefly about some of the stuff we've got coming up. So next week we have 2 streams. We have on Wednesday, we have a new Space Camp session. And so that's going to be on advanced API debugging. So I'll send information on that so that you can add that to your calendar. So that'll be Wednesday. And I am struggling to find this link in the time being, so give me 1 second. But I'll drop that in a second. And then on Thursday next week, the same time, we have another blindfold challenge. So if you've ever been around for any of those, they're an awesome time. One of our developer advocates will, surprise somebody with an API in the API network and basically say, here it is, build something cool. And so it's really neat, and those are always a good time. So highly recommend that. And like I said, I'm still trying to pull up this the link for it. So in the meantime, Sam, we always like to wrap up with community shout outs. So is there anybody or team or anything that you'd like to shout out?
So I guess everyone at Nylas, really. We launched a new product yesterday. So timing's probably quite good to mention. Yeah, everyone who's been working really hard on that. So that's our Nylas streams. It's kind of going to completely change the way Nylas interacts with apps by getting unstructured data from emails and sending that directly to the applications, rather than where we've stored it all on our side and used webhooks and deltas and things like that to integrate with the app. So a big shout out to everyone that's been working really hard and getting that ready over the last few months.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds awesome. I imagine that'll be like a cool way to explore and experience stuff.
Yeah, sure. I can always drop a link on that as well, because that's totally. If you go to our blogs on the nylas.com, you'll see it on the blog there. Cool.
Yeah, if you send me the link, I'm happy to drop it in and share. And I'll shout out from our end. Usually I like to do it externally. I think there's quite a few folks that make these Postman streams super fun. But I'll shout out my colleague Joyce, who created the Lost in Space puzzle that I talked about earlier in the stream. It really is, I think, for me, it's a fun combination of tech and puzzles in a way that I feel like I haven't really seen much before. So someone taking the time to do that and create this fun adventure is I think really, really fun and cool for folks to be able to explore. So that's my shout out. And Sam, if you want to team up on it, let me know, because she did make it quite challenging. So there.
Yeah, I might have to take you up on that offer.
Cool. All right. Anything else?
No, nothing from my side. Just thanks for having us.
Cool. Yeah, thanks so much. It's always a blast having folks come on. And I think maybe we'll have you on again at some time to do some more advanced workflows and more advanced builds.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cool. All right, Sam. Have a good night. Talk to everyone soon. Thanks, y'all.
Sean. Bye.